Hello everybody and welcome. In today's video I would like to show you everything that I made this summer season. And if you're wondering, how come she's presenting her summer pieces in a winter woolen sweater? Well, it's because here in Paris the temperatures have dropped dramatically since the end of August. It was 45 degrees Fahrenheit this morning and it's not going to get warmer than about 60 degrees today, so I am cold. My body is rebelling. Nobody's turned the heat on yet because it's the beginning of September and that's normal. I'm a little bit sniffly, my back is seizing up, and so I figured if I wrap myself in wool in this 2 of 1's Cornwall cable knit sweater that I made last winter, I will stay warm and not get sick because I am going to be traveling twice in the next few weeks abroad for work and I do not want to get sick. I do not want to miss it. So yeah, I'm staying warm and cozy and just pretend that it's still summertime and that these clothes are relevant. But this summertime felt like it whizzed by so fast. I think it's because I was really busy making clothes, sewing up a storm, making videos, and then traveling. I went to the West Coast to see my family for 2 weeks and that was amazing. So I have 14 total completed projects that I'd like to show you today, and they include some everyday basics that I can mix and match for the summertime, plus a few dresses that I made. One was my birthday dress, so a little bit more for dressing up and going out, and then 2 knitted summer tops that I'd like to show you, and the discovery of one new favorite color that I'd like to make a lot more often in the future. It's this bright light coral color that I'm obsessed with and that I can't wait to show you. So without further ado, let's get right to it. But if you're new here, welcome. My name is Sarah. I am originally from the East Coast of the United States and I moved to France a while ago. I've been here for about 15 years and now I live and work in Paris. I'm a dual citizen now too. And on this channel I mostly talk about sewing, but a little bit of other creative endeavors that I dabble in from time to time, like knitting or embroidery, and a little bit of my personal life to show you what inspires me in case it inspires you too. So welcome. The first piece that I'd like to show you today is the True Bias Darla dress that I made at the very beginning of the season. I finished it just in time for a birthday party for a family member in the beginning of June, and I have mixed feelings about this dress. I'm not sure it suits me very well. I think it's fine, but I don't know, I just felt a little bit off in it, and I think that's for a few reasons. So firstly, I made a size 0 and then a size 4 in the skirt. So the bodice, I made the size 0. I didn't grade it down, and I think that's part of the reason that it doesn't quite fit correctly, because with True Bias patterns, their smallest bodice size is for a size 32-inch bust, and my bust size is 31 inches. And so typically with more closer fitting bodices with True Bias patterns, I manually grade down one size, but I didn't do it this time because I thought it's a summer dress, it doesn't need to be super close to the body, and I thought that it fit okay. And then what I did with the skirt piece is that I cut out just a straight size 4 to match my hips, and I didn't grade that out. I just increased the amount of gathers that fit into the bodice piece rather than having the same volume of gathers that the pattern plans for. And I think that that adds a lot more volume at the tummy. So because this dress fits me more at an empire waistline at the bottom of my ribs versus my natural waistline, which is a little bit lower down, it does add a lot of volume in the front at the tummy. And I don't think it's very flattering on me. I think that perhaps if I had sized down the bodice, it would have fit a little bit lower down on my chest and therefore lower down at the waist, and then also if I had graded out that seam at the skirt rather than just making the straight size 4, there would be less volume in the gathering. Because this fabric is also very stiff and tightly woven, there was a lot of volume. So there's that. Also the color. So when I picked out this fabric, I bought it at Sacré Coupon, which is a fabric shop here in Paris, and they have an online shop as well. I bought it online. It's one of my favorite shops. I love them. They have such cool fabrics. I highly recommend checking them out, and they ship internationally. I will link them below. But I bought this online and I thought that the color looked really beautiful, and I wanted to make a color that was similar to the one shown in the model pictures of the pattern because I thought it was absolutely gorgeous on the model. But when it arrived, I realized that it's more of a royal blue and a warmer blue. And what I'm learning now is that colors that are typically cool or warm aren't always cool or warms. For example, blue is usually my friend. It usually goes pretty well with my coloring, but I'm learning that there are cooler blues and warmer blues, just like there are cooler reds and warmer reds. And so I think this is a warmer blue, and I think that it kind of washes me out, especially because it's sort of head to toe. It encompasses my entire figure, and therefore I think it sort of overwhelms my color and it kind of washes me out. So I'm not entirely sure about this, although I love the design of this dress. I love the general silhouette. I think it's a little bit large on me and a little bit bulky on me. I don't want to throw it away, or not throw it away, give it away or sell it. I do want to keep it because it is comfortable and it is fun to wear, and I like the midi length of the skirt. I love the deep pockets, and I really like the square neckline, etc. But I think I need to figure out how to style it so that it suits me better and it doesn't wash me out so much. So maybe adding like a complementary colored, maybe light blue scarf or a belt or something, just to sort of divide it up a little bit or to lighten it up a little bit so that, yeah, it doesn't drain my color out of my face. But let me know what you think. I still really love this pattern, and it was a lot of fun to make. It wasn't very difficult. True Bias pattern's always a pleasure to sew up, and so I highly recommend it. And yeah, let me know what you think. So the second dress that I'd like to present to you today is one that I had a lot of problems with, and I wanted to thank you for all of you who watched and commented on my summer plans video, for all of the solutions and suggestions that you sent me. That was a huge help. So I made the Sew Over It Una dress in this really beautiful lemony yellow cotton, and I wanted to show it again to you because it's just absolutely beautiful. I found this at Fabric Godmother, and it's this really beautiful sort of seersucker texture, and it's sort of got this ribbon striped light yellow color, and it's just absolutely beautiful. But it was transparent when I sewed it up, and that was a big problem that I presented to you. Before I talk about that though, I wanted to tell you how I modified it, because this pattern, I've made it twice before, both times in cotton, and both times I decided to, and including this time, I lowered the waistband elastic about 1 inch so that it sat at my natural waist rather than at my ribs, because I think that it's more flattering on me. And then I also, in this version only, I added a zipper to the side seam just underneath the arm, and I had it go down to past the waistband elastic to about the high hip. This was because in my past two versions I find it really difficult to get into them because I made it in the size 6 at the bust that I manually graded to a size 8 at the hips, and therefore getting my shoulders over that waistband elastic of the size 6, because my shoulders are a little bit wider, is really, really difficult. It was always at risk of ripping the fabric, or if I had makeup on, it was just rubbing. And so I wanted to make it easier to get in and out of, and it worked. And then to fix the transparency problem, so originally I had planned on fully lining the entire dress and unpicking the waistband elastic and then reinstalling it. But a lot of you came back and said, no need, just line the bodice part and then wear a half slip underneath, which was perfect. I hadn't thought of that. That way I didn't have to unpick the waistband elastic. Thank you so much. And that's exactly what I did. So what I did was I cut out a second front and back bodice in the lining fabric that I wanted to use. So here's the bodice opened up, and you can see I kept the facings in this sort of nude colored or close to my skin tone colored facing so that it was less visible from the right side. So I cut out a second pair of the front and the back bodice in this cotton voile lining that I wanted to use, and then I laid the facing pieces, the pattern pieces, across those and traced it, and then added 2 centimeters for the seam allowance, and then I sewed it to the facings here in the front and the back after sewing up the side seam. And then because I had added this zipper on the side, I then hand tacked it down to the zipper and hand sewed it to this waistband elastic here, which was difficult because the waistband elastic was already contracted and therefore it was a little bit fiddly, but it's a lot easier to do that by hand than by machine, and so that's why I did it by hand. And now it is installed. I wear it with a half slip that I already had, and it's perfect. I think this is my favorite version of this dress that I've made so far. I think it suits me pretty well in coloring, and I love this bright, happy yellow lemony color. I finished it just in time for my birthday and for my birthday dinner out with my husband. It was perfect for my birthday, and I really love this one. I highly recommend adding this zipper in the side seam if you can, if you also have a hard time getting in and out of this dress. It really helps. It's a lot easier to get in and out of now, and yeah, I'm really happy with this one. The next garment that I finished was actually part of a trio of garments that I'm currently making for a sewing blog, which you'll see in much more detail very, very soon. And it is the Closet Core Patterns Jenna shirt. It's an oversized button-down shirt that I made in this light blue cotton chambray that I bought from Bennytex. I won't go into a lot of detail here because you will see this very soon in much more detail in a sewing blog. I hope I'll be able to get that out soon. But I made the size extra, extra small. This is an oversized shirt, so I just chose the size based on my bust measurement, and there was enough ease in the shoulders and the hips to not have to grade out or in anywhere. So I made view A, and I omitted the back loop and the gussets in these side seams. This one was a little bit fiddly to make, I think because the cotton chambray is very tightly woven, and so there's very little give in it, and therefore when you're sewing the pieces together, it's kind of like paper. It sort of crinkles, it doesn't give at all, so you have to be very careful fitting the seams together so that you don't get little pleats in the seam. I found the collar very fiddly. It requires very precise sewing, and because I didn't exactly know what the final effect would be beforehand and you're a little bit blind when you're sewing it, I did make a few mistakes that you will see in the video. I had to sort of fix it with some hand stitching. But I'm really happy with this, and I'm really happy to have made this shirt. I think that it's a little bit more formal than what I usually wear in my everyday wardrobe, but I think that it's such a classic staple that it will be useful and wearable for years to come, and it's something I'm really happy I invested my time in making, and I think it'll be very useful in my wardrobe. But that's all I'll say about it now, because I'm making a pair of trousers and an undershirt to go with it, and I will get into that much more in the sewing vlog very soon. The next projects I'd like to present is actually a trio of projects that I made for my most recent sewing vlog and sew along, and it's the Seymour Kansey tee that I made. This is the very first sew along that I've ever made, these 3 versions and showing you how I made them, and that video took forever to make. I'm really proud of it, but it took forever. It took about 3 weeks to film and then 2 weeks to edit, so I hope you enjoy it. I'll link it here if you'd like to check it out, if you haven't already checked it out. But basically in that video, and I won't go into it in very much detail because there's a whole video on it, I made this pattern in 3 different ways, and then I show you how I manipulate the pattern to make it in different ways. But basically I made the first version with no modifications to the pattern in a textured white cotton, and the only thing I modified about this one is I made the facings in a skin-toned viscose fabric that I interfaced so that it was the right weight, and I show you how to do that as well. And then the second one I made in a really beautiful block printed Indian cotton voile that is a remnant from another project that I made a long time ago, and I'm really happy to have made this one because the project that I made in this fabric was a Closet Core Patterns Charlie Kaftan, which I use as a beach cover-up, but obviously that means that I only wear it on certain occasions in certain contexts, not like every day, but when I go to the beach or the pool or something. And therefore, now that I have it in this tee pattern, I can wear it a lot more often and every day, and I just absolutely love the colors in this print, so that makes me really happy. And in this version, I underlined it, I fully underlined it, so I show you how to do that, and then I finished all of the inside finishings with a French seam. So that one is definitely one of my favorite projects this summer. And the third one is the one that I'm most proud of because it took the most innovation for me. Because I added some sashiko embroidery to it. So I made this one in the same kind of cotton as the first version. It's just in a different color, in the sea green blue color that I love. I fully interfaced both the front and the back for structure so that I could add the sashiko embroidery, but in the end I only embroidered the front piece. But I'm glad that I interfaced the back as well because that way it matches the weight of the front and it's not like weirdly loose compared to the front. And then I added this Seigaiha wave pattern. One of you commented in the video that it means calm waves, or it symbolizes calm waves in Japanese culture, and oh, how beautiful, what beautiful symbolism. Thank you very much for teaching me that. That's really cool. And yeah, I took 2 sashiko classes in the late spring where I learned the basics of sashiko embroidery, and I really wanted to apply it to a sewing project, and I had this idea and it turned out a lot better than I could have imagined, and it's one of my proudest works so far. It took a long time, but I find it really fun to embroider. I'm really excited I can wear this piece of art, or what I consider to be a piece of art, and I go into how I did that in much detail in that video, so I highly recommend checking that one out, and I'll link it here as well. But that's all I'll say about that one too, because yeah, there's an entire video about that, and yeah, I'm really pleased with how these 3 turned out. Then after making those projects, most of the summer was already finished and I only had about a week before I traveled to the West Coast to see my family, and so I wanted to focus on making basic pieces that I can mix and match in the summertime when it's hot out and when I'm doing more sporty things like going for walks or going to the beach or just hanging out. And so the first piece I made was the O's Patterns Brene top that I made in this Italian floral linen that I bought years ago from Fabric Godmother, and I made a birthday dress in this one originally about 5 or 6 years ago. This linen is such a beautiful print and colors that I really wanted to put this remnant that I had in my stash for years to use, and I think this is the perfect top. I'm really happy that, just like the Indian block printed cotton that I used for my handsy tee, this way I'll be able to use this fabric or wear this fabric on an everyday basis and much more often, and I think it's perfect in this top. So the Brene top I made in the smallest size, and I made it with the asymmetrical collar detail but without the button. And what I like about this top is sort of the square neckline that's sort of higher up on the chest so that it emphasizes the beauty of the collarbones, which is just absolutely beautiful in everyone I find. And then these bra-friendly straps as well that are kind of wide, a lower back but not too low, it still covers the bra. And this linen, it's very bouncy and sort of voluminous, especially at the hem, but I don't mind. I like to wear it tucked in so it kind of keeps it from ballooning out. It does balloon a little bit, but what's nice about it is that wearing this one in the hot, humid weather, my body wasn't touching very much fabric. I wore it especially during a heat wave that we got late July. You might have seen it if you were watching the Paris Olympics. There was a few days where it was just hot, and I remember the volunteers at the Paris Olympics, they were spraying down, especially the beach volleyball, underneath the Eiffel Tower, just spraying the spectators. And that was like, oh, I know how they feel. That's what I was wearing during that period and watching the games and making my handsy tees. And yeah, such cool memories as well. I then made a second one of these tops, the O's Patterns Brene top, in a black embroidered cotton. And this fabric I actually found during my Paris fabric shopping blog that I published a few months ago. This is such a beautiful cotton. It's very, very light, and I love how the embroidery sort of adds texture to it and sort of a very subtle stripe. In this top, it's absolutely perfect. It was really easy and quick to sew. I highly recommend this top if you're looking for something elegant and relatively quick to sew. It is breezy and lovely, and it's too cool to wear now in the autumn, I think, unless I really layer underneath and over it. I like how the black color is not too opaque. It adds a little bit of depth, that it's slightly transparent and also embroidered, and it mixes and matches with a lot of my bottoms and cardigans and things. So yeah, very useful in my wardrobe, and I'm really happy I made this one too. The next two pieces are actually the same pattern. I made the True Bias Dani shorts twice, once in a chevron sort of pattern beige linen that was left over from another project I made a few years ago, and then also in a white linen fabric. And I made both with the elasticated waist option, and I love these two. I haven't always had the best luck making shorts because I'm a little bit longer in the torso, and a lot of shorts and pants patterns give me wedgies, which is not great. But this one fits really, really well, and it's a high-waisted sort of short, which I like because my waist is smaller than my hips, and with pants and skirts that sit at the high hip, a lot of them sort of ride up because they're looking for the spot on my body that's the least resistance. Like, it's too much resistance to stay around my hips. It sort of creeps up towards my waist. So I like having things rest on my waist because they sort of rest on this curve where my hips sort of keep them up. That's why I pick more high-waisted garments. Long story. But basically, these are super, super comfortable, especially because the waistband elastic is so wide. I ended up adding a few things to both of these. So for both versions, I added 2 lines of stitching at the waistband elastic. The pattern doesn't call for this, but I found that every time I put them on or took them off, the waistband elastic would twist in the casing, and that was just annoying. So I added these 2 lines of stitching to both of them. And then the bottom hem is turned up for that sort of turned up hem effect. And then the pattern instructions say to fix it at the side seams or the inner and outer seams of the shorts, but I found that they kept on flipping open in the front and the back where they weren't fixed to the shorts, and so I just added a few hand stitches there to sort of fix them down and make sure that they don't flip out. But other than that, these were very, very easy, quick sews. I was able to get both of these out right before I left to go visit my family. I went to Reno first to visit my sister and her partner for a few days, and then I rented a house with my family on the northern edge of Lake Tahoe in California, and that was absolutely beautiful. Oh, I have never seen such a beautiful body of water in my life. The water was absolutely gorgeous, and we got really lucky. It was pretty sunny and warm. We experienced a lot of wind while we were there. It was very, very windy the week that we were there. That way we didn't get too hot, and then we got to watch a lot of windsurfers zipping around. Every time we went to the lake, that was really cool. Oh, I had such a good time. We even saw a bear once. We were safely inside. It was about twilight, and he was just doing his rounds in the neighborhood, and we made sure all the doors were nice and locked and watched him respectfully from a distance. And yeah, it was really, really cool. It looked like he was just going for his nightly walk in his neighborhood. We definitely understood that it was his territory. But yeah, that was really cool. And then I have never tasted such delicious tap water in my life, so I was very hydrated during that week. But all in all, I had a lovely time with my family. It was really, really great and the perfect summer vacation. And these shorts and the two Brene tops especially were in constant rotation, going to and from the beach or just walking around, going on a hike even, and yeah, it was really great. The last two makes were actually very spontaneous and not makes that I had planned. But I don't know, sometimes I'm just inspired to make something and I like to follow that sort of trajectory rather than planning everything meticulously from the beginning to the end of the season. And the first one is a dress that I wanted to make. So while I was in Reno with my sister, I found a fabric shop called Mill End Fabrics, and I convinced her to take me there, and I discovered it was a warehouse. And I wanted to send a shout out to Hannah, who said hello, who recognized me from the channel, and it was such a joy to meet you. Thank you so much for saying hello and for giving me a tour of the warehouse. That was so cool. And so I definitely felt very welcome. And it's very, very cool to meet the people who watch this channel. That's only happened to me now 3 times, and especially all the way across the world. What? Oh my goodness. How cool. And it reassures me and gives me motivation to keep doing this because I'm just here alone in my living room speaking to the void of my camera lens. It's really great knowing that there are actual people on the other side and that such friendly, happy people too. So thank you so much for saying hello. That was heartwarming. But basically, I found such beautiful fabrics. I highly recommend going and checking out Mill End Fabrics if you're in the region of Reno or you can get there easily. They have beautiful fabrics and fabrics that I've never seen before, types of fabrics that I could not find easily here, so I bought a lot. And one of the fabrics that I bought was this really beautiful linen blend slub fabric that I found there. It's this, sort of openly woven, not openly, but a little bit more openly woven linen fabric. And it's just got this really beautiful texture, and I love this color. I fell in love with this color right away. It's this sort of bright, cool coral color, and oh, how gorgeous. And I wasn't sure if it would suit me particularly, but I wanted to try because I just fell in love, and I'd really like to play around with cooler coral tones, I think, especially in the summertime. And so I made the Ali Olsen Highland dress out of this. You can see this is just a remnant piece that I have that I'll probably make a top out of eventually. And I think that in this dress, this fabric is really interesting because I've made this dress twice before, once in a black tencel fabric and once in a polyester fabric, sort of a heavier, thicker polyester fabric. And I think in this fabric, because it is a little bit more loosely woven, it's got a very soft drape to it, and it's a little bit more feminine in that it doesn't keep its shape as much as my previous versions. It just sort of softly drapes over my body, which is kind of cool, and I think it's really pretty. I hope that this color suits me because I love wearing it. I think it does, but I haven't quite been able to wear it out yet. I made it too late in the season. Temperatures dropped as I was sewing this, so I'm a little bit heartbroken. I hope it warms up and then I can wear it out and it won't look too weird mid-September to be wearing this bright coral dress. But otherwise, I will be wearing it a lot next summer, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I made a size 0, a straight size 0, because even though my hips are larger than that, there's a lot of ease in the skirt piece of this dress, and so I was able to make it and not have to worry about it being too tight at the hips, and the size 0 corresponds to my bust. And I really like this pattern because even though I find that the waistband elastic, especially in the back, it sort of rides up a little bit in the back and it turns into sort of a empire waistline in the back, which I don't find incredibly flattering. I like that the wrap stays flat and that because it is fastened on the inside with a snap and on the outside, the tie detail is actually just superficial. It doesn't keep the dress in place at all. The dress is firmly in place on the side seams, and because there are 2 front panels with the side slits, you don't have to worry about it sort of flashing anyone, like blowing in the wind and flashing. I have worn this in the most blustery seasons. Not this version exactly, but my other 2 versions. I wear them all the time. Even in blustery seasons with lots of wind, I don't have to worry about it. It's a pleasure to wear. And I like this dress especially because it's versatile in that you can wear it in a lot of different kinds of contexts. So it works for me depending on the kind of fabric you make it in everyday situations, on the weekend, casual situations, even going to work. And so yeah, I think that this will get a lot of use as soon as it warms up again, maybe next summer, and I'm really happy with the way this turned out. So the last sewing project that I worked on this summer was entirely spontaneous and not in line with the cooling temperatures, but that is okay. And it's because I was able to work with this really beautiful silk fabric. This is 100% silk and I just absolutely love this design. So this is actually designed and printed by Minerva, which is a fabric shop in the UK, and they sent this fabric to me for free in exchange for an article on their website on the garment that I chose to make. And I chose to make the Closet Core Patterns Veronique robe, or Veronique robe, that I made because I've been craving more luxury sort of loungewear, and this is perfect for that. So I made the size 0 corresponding to my bust size, and it's a very loose garment with lots of ease, and so I didn't have to worry about it being too tight at the hips or anywhere else. This is such a beautiful robe. I'm so happy that I got to make this. This fabric is super soft and luxurious, and the way it floats when I moved just feels sumptuous, and yeah, it's lovely. I feel very lucky to have been able to work with this. And I love the shape of this pattern. I chose to make the long length, so the below the knee length, and with the long sleeves. And I love the sort of drop shoulder and rectangle shaped sleeves. They're just really elegant and gorgeous, and this actually wasn't that hard to sew up. This silk fabric, because it's 100% silk, it presses really well and it handles really well. It's not extremely slippery like a polyester fabric would be, so you can sort of press it into shapes. It does hold its shape with heat, and it's just lovely. I did have to use a very fine needle and a walking foot sometimes to make sure to handle any seams that didn't match up exactly or that I didn't want to move around too much, but it wasn't very difficult to work with. It was relatively easy to make. I made it in just a day or two. I find that Closet Core Patterns, their instructions are really clear and easy to follow. They're fully illustrated, so you don't have to guess about what goes where, and so it's a lot easier to tackle harder projects like this silk robe or like the button-down shirt that I made that I showed you earlier in this video with their instructions. And I will definitely be swanning around the house when the temperatures get warmer again in this robe. It makes me really happy, and I love these colors. So that's everything that I sewed this season. I have 2 knitting projects that I'd like to show you, and the first is this Tolsta tee that I made in this Morning Salutations vegan wool by Kremke Soul Wool that I purchased online in this pine colorway. This color is so cool. I think it's almost emeraldy, like it's a green. It's supposed to be a dark green, but I think it's a little blue too, and I just absolutely love it. This wool is, so not wool, it's 50% I think, or it's a blend of viscose and cotton, and so it's got this really heavy sort of loose drape to it. So I think it's not as stiff as it would be in another sort of wool. This is a DK weight wool. I've been following Creabea on YouTube and Instagram for a little while now, and I really love her designs, and I find that there's not too much ease, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. Easy projects that aren't too boxy, and this is exactly that. So it's a t-shirt pattern, it features ribbing at the neckline and the hems, and it's knitted in the round. It's got German short rows in the back for shaping, and it was just easy. Once you establish the raglans and you knit down to the bottom of the yoke and you separate this for the sleeves, and you just knit the body down in the round over and over and over again in a stockinette stitch, it was just exactly what I needed to get my knitting motivation back. Because after trying a few projects that didn't work out last winter, I kind of put it away and I didn't want to knit anymore. I lost my motivation, and also because winter projects are really expensive. They require a lot of wool and a lot of time, and I needed something that was quick, and summer knits are just quick and so satisfying, I find. And so I made this. I'm making a second one now, but I'll present that to you in a little while. It's not finished yet, and I really like this. So I wanted to create something that was a little bit more of a summer fabric, and this wool is absolutely perfect for that. It's really soft and drapey, and it was just absolutely perfect to throw on, for example, in the mornings in Tahoe, because it was cool in the mornings, and just over whatever I was wearing that day, this summer knit was absolutely perfect. And I think that I love the color, I love the way it drapes. I made the size 1, which corresponds to negative ease on me, but because this fabric is drapier and heavier, it has a very heavy drape because it's viscose, I think it's a little bit more relaxed than it would be in another DK weight wool, and therefore there is still about 1 inch or even more of ease on me when I wear it, so I'm glad I made the smallest size with what was supposed to be negative ease. I really love this one. I think that, yeah, It's really, really beautiful, and I love this pattern. The second summer knitted top that I made is another Tolsta by Crayabea, and it is the square neck Tolsta tank that just published a little while ago. And I made it in this Sandnes Garn Lina in the raspberry cream colorway. And I wouldn't have tried this colorway before, which also, because I started making this before I went to Reno and bought that beautiful coral fabric, that's actually what inspired that, because I didn't think that this color would suit me. It wouldn't have appealed to me before, but I saw someone made it. I think her name is Felicia on Instagram. I will link her below here. And I saw her version that she made, and it was just absolutely beautiful, and I figured we have similar coloring. She's a little bit blonder and a little bit tanner than I am, but I think it looked really, really beautiful on her, especially she paired it with, I think, white shorts, and I thought, oh, I just made shorts like that. Maybe this top would suit me too, and so I wanted to try it, and when it came in, this yarn is just absolutely gorgeous. Look at that color. It's a little bit red, but sort of a rosy red. I don't know, it's just kind of smoky colored. I think that it's turning up a little bit more fuchsia on the camera. It's got a little bit more of a deeper color in real life, but it's just absolutely gorgeous, and I'm really, really glad that I made this. I was actually knitting it while I was in Tahoe, and that was a great portable project to bring on vacation with me, and I just finished it a little while ago, but I did have a few problems, or not a few problems, I had a problem or two with the arm side. So basically I had a really hard time figuring out how to pick up the stitches here at the underarm. So in the instructions it says to pick up the stitches and that you should have a certain number of stitches and then cast on stitches for the strap. I didn't know how to do that. So I looked it up. I'm not sure if I did it correctly. I'll show you here this line. You'll be able to tell me, you knitters who watch, did I do this correctly? So basically I picked it up with the V of the two legs of the knitting stitches, and then I picked up every other stitch so that I would have approximately the number of stitches that I was supposed to have on the needle, but it took me a few tries and hours. My family was watching me do this and saying, how do you have the patience? But I think I figured it out in the end. But then also, and you might see this because I'm showing it to you closely, when I finished making this top, it had way too much gaping, or the arm side here was way too low, and so you could see the side of my bra down to like the bottom band on the side. And I actually found this video by Lisa of Lisa Makes, her YouTube channel, and I'll link the video below. And in her video she shows you exactly how to fix a drooping arm side in a knitted top, and it's perfect. So following her instructions, I added this elastic to it, and I measured out exactly how round, or the circumference of what I needed in this armhole here. And so on me you can't see the elastic at all, it's hidden on the inside of the garment. And here you can see it's puckering a little bit because the elastic is drawn tighter than the arm or this loop here knitted, but it sits flat on me, and now it's perfect. It covers my bra band, and now I can wear it. So thank you very much, Lisa. I will link her video here below. You have saved my knitted project. And I love this top. I love the square neckline. I love the color. I think that it doesn't have too much ease. I made the smallest size again, and this one has about 1 inch of ease planned in the smallest size, or at least on me. And yeah, this was another project that for the most part was easy to knit and easy to focus on, and this color is just so happy. It makes me happy. And I'm really excited to wear more colors like this one, like coral. I thought that coral didn't work with me, but I'm learning that there are cooler corals, there are more orange corals, and it's sort of opening up a world of colors that I can maybe try to wear as long as they're on the cooler side, and that would work with me. And so I'm excited. I love this color, and I'm really happy with this top. So there you have it. That is everything that I made this summer season, and I'm really happy with what I was able to make, especially finding a shorts pattern that works for me and that's easy to make and easy to wear, or a new color that I'm experimenting wearing, or a luxury robe that just feels so soft and lovely. This was a pretty cool summer, and I'm pretty proud of what I've made. Don't hesitate to let me know how your summer went or what you made this summer, and I will be back very soon with what I'll be making this fall. I've been getting into fall planning, especially with these cooler temperatures, lots of inspiration, and I'm excited to show you that soon. If you like this video, don't hesitate to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. A lot of you who are watching are not subscribed, and I highly recommend it so you don't miss any new videos. Thank you for watching. I hope you are all doing well, and I'll see you again here soon. Bye-bye.